Good morning! Welcome back to my docuseries on how fathers can win their custody case. I am Father X. Let's get to it. When I had to choose a family court lawyer, it was a very rushed decision, and I didn't know all of the questions to ask. You are likely in the same boat, and picking the right lawyer, if you pick one at all, is a huge decision. So I will teach you what I wish somebody shared with me. I only learned these things in hindsight, and now I want to give you foresight. I'm going to break this section of the docuseries into 4 parts that you need to know. Choosing your family court lawyer, the weaknesses of family court lawyers, spending on family court lawyers, and the secret hidden costs of family court that you need to know in order to figure out how much you have left over for your lawyer. In this video, we focus on the first one, and we will discuss: what exact questions do I ask when I interview lawyers? Do I need a lawyer? What kind of lawyer do I need? How do I find them? This first section today is going to arm you with vital questions that most people would never think of asking. What questions do I ask when I interview lawyers? A major challenge is that you don't really know anything about a lawyer's past performance in court because that's not documented anywhere. Word of mouth is shallow. So I will share some key questions to ask. I didn't ask these questions when I started because I was clueless. And what you want in their answers is a thoroughness of response. You want a lawyer that can speak openly, competently, and thoroughly about all of these questions. I have spoken to many lawyers who give very quick and dirty responses and don't give me the sense that they are being forthcoming. This is a job interview for them, so they have to shine. We'll talk about their prior experience in family law. How many years have you been a family court attorney? How many cases have you settled versus how many have gone to court? How many settlement agreements have you personally drafted? How many custody cases have you won and lost when you represented the mother? How many custody cases have you won and lost when you represented the father? And here are your expected answers. When you ask how many cases have you won and they just say, "Oh, I've done this countless times over the years," well, that's a terrible and vague answer. And you don't just need their overall win-loss record. You want to know their results for female versus male clients because mothers get custody 85% to 95% of the time. You can get a dog surfing instructor to represent the mother and she would still likely get primary custody. That's because she is carried by the gender bias of family court. So winning custody for female clients is not an actual professional accomplishment. What you really need is someone who has helped fathers get primary or 50-50 custody repeatedly. And if the lawyer says, "Oh, fathers rarely get primary custody," then forget that lawyer. Why would you pay him for no results? You can lose by yourself. We'll talk to him about his prior experience in this courthouse. How many custody judges in this courthouse have you litigated in front of? How many times have you appeared in front of each judge? Your expected answer is that you may prefer a lawyer that is familiar with all of the players in the courthouse. On the other hand, you don't want a lawyer who is just another cog in the machine that accepts the rubber stamping of the mother. We'll also talk to them about the subject matter of their cases. What are 10 of the best interest factors that are used in determining custody? How have you proven one parent is better than the other parent in some of these best interest factors? How many times have you dealt in matters where domestic violence was the issue? Give me some examples where you proved domestic violence allegations are false, or that they were true. How have you proven one parent is more psychologically or emotionally able to raise a child? What do you see as the strengths and weaknesses in my case? Can you carry my case to the finish line where I end up with primary custody? How? And your expected answers? Well, this is probably not a good lawyer for you if they can't name 10 of the best interest factors off the top of their head. If they cannot clearly discuss how they overcame false allegations of domestic violence. If they cannot speak intelligently about the emotional or psychological needs of children. If they give you some vague marketing slogan about how they can win your case, but they cannot offer any strategies of how they would do it. We'll talk to them about forensic evaluations. How many times have you been through a forensic analysis with your clients? Can you explain borderline personality disorder or bipolar disorder? How many forensic analysis psychologists do you have a professional relationship with? Your expected answers? This is probably not a good lawyer for you if they have not done forensic analysis, but mental health issues are a core part of your case. If they cannot intelligently discuss the difference between bipolar and borderline personality disorders, but that is a centerpiece of your family's problems. You will probably need a forensic evaluation of both parents for court. You will need a lawyer who is familiar with the work of many forensic evaluators and can recommend somebody who will be sympathetic to your case. You need to plan ahead for that. We'll talk about evaluating their ability to plan ahead and create a trial strategy with you, not for you. You can ask, what is the overall game plan and timeline for the 1 to 3 years we'll do this? How much time do you expect us to work on trial strategy, direct testimony strategy, and witness strategy? What do those strategies look like? And your expected answer? You want to get the sense this lawyer can manage their caseload since you are only one of many clients. You want them to help you plan many months ahead of time for things down the road. A custody war is about planning and execution. You cannot wait until the last minute to do 6 months of work. You don't want a lawyer who asks you to provide some analysis 2 or 3 days before it's due. And you don't want a lawyer who will talk to you about Thursday's hearing only when it's Wednesday afternoon. We'll talk about appellate court cases. How many times have you appealed a judge's order and gone to the appellate courts? How successful have you been at this? Can you tell me the judicial hierarchy of this trial court? Is this the 1st District Court or the 3rd Division? Which appellate court rulings does this court have to follow? What case law can you think of that applies to my case that show precedent that I should be the primary custodial parent? And your expected answer? You should expect them to know from memory several appellate court cases that might apply to your case. Most of the family lawyers that I encountered could not speak intelligently about case law and legal precedent, but that knowledge is crucial. Generally, I have run circles around these people when it comes to case law, and for me to do that, well, that's not something for this industry to be proud of. One important part of your trial strategy will be to throw case law around to keep the judge in check, not menacingly, but cleverly and smartly. The threat of appeal and being overturned can keep judges from engaging in status quo gender bias against dads. You need a lawyer who is on board with this plan. You will also evaluate their sales ability and public speaking ability. A key part of a lawyer's skill is their public speaking in a courtroom. Are they convincing with a judge and another lawyer in the room? Try to evaluate that as you speak to them. Before we discuss if you even need a lawyer, if you find this information helpful, then please like and subscribe and share. It will help get this message out to more fathers in our position. Let's talk about, do I even need a lawyer? There are horror stories about fathers in a custody case where the lawyer wants an upfront retainer of $20,000 and they bill hours against that retainer until it runs out. And then they want more. In court, the lawyer does almost nothing for you, and the standard outcome happens where the judge issues default custody to the mother for no intelligent reason. You wasted all this money. Family court is gender biased against fathers, and there is little that most lawyers can do to fight that. Even worse, many lawyers just accept the status quo broken system because they have a career in family court and don't want to rock the boat. On the other hand, we have heard horror stories about fathers going to court without a lawyer, and these fathers complain that the judge just rubber stamps the mother and the father has no rights. The father complains that he had no legal representation and he got steamrolled. You are between a rock and a hard place. I get it. I know it's hard to think through. Here are some thoughts. You may want a lawyer if you are angry about the injustice you are facing and it shows up in how you speak, which will make the judge hate you. A lawyer can speak for you to help cover that up. You're a bad public speaker and have no idea of what to say in court about child custody. Maybe you have $75,000 sitting around that you don't mind losing, and you want the peace of mind of an attorney. Or you may not want a lawyer if you are a good public speaker and you have charisma, or you have the smarts to learn the family court process and manage your case in your spare time. Or maybe your kids are 15 to 17 years old and want to live with you, and if your kids are that age, they can likely choose where to live by using their feet. So let's ask, what kind of lawyer do I need? Let's assume you want to hire a lawyer. Many people say, oh, I'm going to get the best lawyer and crush her. I want you to delete that mindset if you have it. Lawyers don't win cases. You are choosing your partner in a huge battle, but you are the all-star MVP of your case. You are the expert witness. You will make or break your case. Don't outsource critical thinking to your lawyer. There are many fields of law. You can't just walk in and master one field of law. So with your kids at stake, I suspect you'd be taking too great a risk by getting somebody outside of family law. For your custody case, you want somebody specializing in family law or matrimonial law. If you have a criminal case, you would need a criminal defense attorney. When choosing a lawyer, personality type matters. One theory says that clients choose lawyers that are just like themselves. So if your lawyer is a mean, overly aggressive jackass, it probably means that you are the same way. And if your lawyer is a polite person, then you are probably the same. That's a cliche that I've heard, and many people in family court say it. If you are angry at your ex and want a bastard to go after her, that will reflect on you. My lawyer usually played the role of Mr. Nice Guy. That may have helped my case, but there's no way to measure objectively. So how do I find them? One way to find attorneys is by personal references. Most of us know people who have been divorced or had child custody issues. You have to ask around. And don't just ask, was your lawyer any good? Ask the deeper questions. What was good about this lawyer exactly? Was he able to get custody for a father? Did he understand the issues of domestic violence or mental health issues? How good was he at talking in the courtroom? Did he offer flexibility with lowering his overpriced billing rates? Did he call you back promptly? Did he prepare for a court date 1 or 2 weeks in advance? Or was he working last minute on stuff? Did he promptly copy you on all email communications and all court filings? In addition, many employers offer a benefit called Employee Assistance Programs, or EAP. These third-party providers offer assistance to employees by offering a network of mortgage brokers or therapists or lawyers. Their family court lawyers may or may not be good, but it's a pool of candidates for you to interview. You can also do a Google search for child custody lawyer or father's rights lawyer. But be aware that somebody labeling themselves a father's rights lawyer is not necessarily better than any other family lawyer. That's sometimes just a marketing slogan they use. If you go to court, pay attention to the other lawyers and see which are in the courtroom often, and which seem better than others. Approach them after court or in the hallways for a consult. Please remember to share your comments below on this video so that other fathers can learn what to expect. If you are a father in family court, what is your experience like with or without a lawyer? Do you think you need one or not? Why? The next topic in this docuseries will be the weaknesses of lawyers. These might be the darkest days of your life, and I'm making these educational videos to help you navigate this nightmare. If you subscribe, I can get you updates when I post more videos in this docuseries. If you find this information helpful, then please like and subscribe and share with your friends who are all in a similar situation. If you like, subscribe, and share, it will also help the YouTube algorithm get this message out to more fathers in our position.